Hey guys, I just wanted to do a short little video today for you. We're in crazy times right now, unprecedented times, in times that we would never think that we would be in. And, there's a lot of anxiety and worry, and we're worried about our family and our friends. We're worried about what's happening and what's going to happen with the situation. Most of us are undergoing some form of a lockdown right now. We are here in Nova Scotia, and I apologise for all my roosters in the background, and while I'm actually sat here I have our honeybees flying all around me, so hopefully I won't get stung. But yeah, we're all sat at home or not being able to go along with our daily lives that we were. And there's a lot of anxiety about food shortages and can we have access to the food? How long is it going to be that we can have to stay at home and all of that kind of stuff. And we've all seen reports around the shelves are bare in the superstores. I know here in town that was the case. Some stores are closing and it's a real worrying time. One of the biggest things that really struck me was seeing the garden centres all over the world, their seed sections and their seedling trays completely bare. That is a huge indicator, and you may see a bee just flying around me there. It's a huge indicator that there's a huge shift. There is and there will be a huge shift towards being self-reliant. And some of you will already be there or part way there or just thinking about starting out. And, I'm sitting here in my garden, and a lot of you that follow the channel know that we keep a large garden. And when we moved here in 2016, this garden was pretty much non-existent. There was nothing here. It was just all pasture. And our first garden that year was 4 foot by 6, and now you can see we have made quite a big garden just out of that. And this is the thing I wanted to kind of just touch base with you. I'm not going to go in depth into it, but you can grow your own food on every scale imaginable, from having a small, medium, large garden to living in the city, in a town, to living in an apartment block, and anything in between, all of which is possible. And it's possible that we can all at some point put a meal on the table that we have grown and we've nurtured. And it's not an impossibility even during the times that we're in now. But just thinking about that can be really overwhelming, and there's a lot to think about, and you have to think about how you're going to achieve that and where you want to go with that. And that's really important. What are your circumstances and where do you live? You can start small, and there's lots of stuff you can do. And as I say, I'm not really going to go too much into depth, but if you live, for example, in an area where you have a garden, if you've got a lawn, turn that lawn into something fruitful. Dig that grass up and plant some seed in it, plant some vegetables in it. If you live in an apartment block, use containers to grow things. There's a huge selection of containers, there's a huge selection of seeds that are suitable for containers. And where I'm actually sat right now is, if you go to one of my previous videos, is a little raised bed that we made from recycled material. And even something like that can grow, a fair amount of food with proper planning, square foot gardening. So there's lots of stuff that we can do. And I know at this time that we're in right now, under these lockdown circumstances, that you can't just go out to the superstores, you can't just go to the garden centres and raid their seeds and their seedling trays. But when this is all over, that is the time when we really need to start focusing on being able to provide as much as we possibly can within our means. And if we can keep a few hens, then that's even better, but we have to do what we can. And during a series of videos, we're going to be doing a lot more about that, and also going into foraging and what we can actually find around, you know, I mean, where we are, and utilising what nature has to offer. You know, so if you have children and grandchildren or youngsters around, you teach not only yourselves but the future generations these, you know, fundamental and essential life skills, because one day they're going to really need them, and they're really important. And share what you learn with other people. You know, share the word that this is the way to go. You know, we're very lucky here that we're in a situation where we have got food, you know, from the last season. So we aren't in that anxiety mode of worrying where our next meal's going to come from. But I know that a lot of people are. You know, get out there and just experiment. You know, bake a loaf. Build a small raised bed. You know, plant some seeds in a little container. Anything, you know. Don't look at the news. Don't overwhelm yourself with the grief and the anxiety, because what's going on out there is awful, and we don't ever want to be seeing that sort of stuff. But turn it into positive. Turn the lockdown into something positive, and get out there and do something. You know, don't worry about if you fail. Failing is part of your learning, and we have to fail to learn. So just use that time to do something. Research homesteading, watch our videos, research how to, you know, can food or food preservation techniques, and utilise the time we have now for when this is all over, for, you know, and that could be weeks, it could be months. So you're prepared and you're ready to get out there and do what you need to do to provide more than most people do right now. So I'm going to head off now, and I'm actually going to get some gardening done. And so make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned, because, you know, as I say, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming. And shoot any comments or questions that you have below. This video wasn't a huge in-depth one, like I've mentioned, you know, about how to do stuff, but that will come. I know a lot of people are just so consumed right now with other things. But please try and stay positive and think about how you can change your life, and how you can become more self-reliant in the future, because it really does make a huge difference. And I can't emphasize enough, get your children involved, because it is so important that they know how to do things for themselves and for other people. So stay safe, stay tuned, be kind, and think of others. Check on those that are in need, and we'll get through this situation. Bye for now.